Okay, shout out to at RRWINC. So I don't know. Oh, at RRW Inc. I saw, comment on the video here. Speaking of Brian Pillman, talking a little bit about his death. You know how he was on pain pills as part of his storyline, and his last name's Pillman, right? But shout out to RRW Inc. for this comment, which inspired this current video you're watching. I've been waiting for someone to cover this. Thanks. His passing is sadly overshadowed by Eddie. Speaking of Guerrero and Chris Benoit, right about that for sure. Pillman also eerily had real life tensions with Taker. So I guess Undertaker, and Taker was the one who's on Bad Blood's cover art. Actually, this comment could inspire another decode on that, but in the same pay per view that Brian died at, I can probably do two other decodes on these comments. But I heard Eddie Guerrero, and I'm like, oh, that would be a good one. I told myself that would be a good one, and we have the Eddie Guerrero and his death plus other connections video that I put together here. So look, right here you see Eddie Guerrero. I hope you like the thumbnail. And um, these wrestlers are a part of many organizations usually, but we kind of remember them from certain organizations. uh, I remember him from my experience becoming a little more popular in WCW, and then like towards the end of his career, he went to WWF, but then becoming really popular later on, right? He worked in numerous promotions globally, primarily made his name in the US with ECW, WCW, and finally the biggest exposure in WWE, right? He became real popular, like a top guy almost, right? Um, Preceded by Mexican and Japanese promotions like AAA and NJPW in that general order. And you see the different organizations. He won titles in nearly all major stops, including the WWE Championship in 2004, cementing his legacy as a top star. His wrestling style was a versatile hybrid of traditional Mexican lucha libre, high flying acrobatics, and technical mat wrestling, augmented by a charismatic lie, cheat, and still persona that utilized cunning and resourcefulness in the ring. A really good wrestling character, and a really good wrestler. So he dies of a heart failure, and we have another one of these wrestling deaths connected with the heart. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's some other like Bret Hart connections, obviously with the name Hart, but HART. I covered some of those deaths connected to the Hart family and friends of the Hart family and all that. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this is also similar. So died suddenly on November 13th, 2005 due to congestive heart failure, a result of underlying uh, atherosclerosis, which is hardening of the arteries, heart, right? And a history of substance abuse and more substance abuse with this character is what they're saying. Okay, they probably have to deal with a lot of pain, I'm assuming, with their profession. Not an excuse, but that seems to go hand in hand with these characters, leading to acute heart failure at age 38, as detailed in his autopsy report. Well, this is a decoding channel, and this is what I'm here to do. He dies in 2005 which is like 25, right? And heart equals 25 in the language, even 52, which is 25 reversed. And I happen to be giving you this breakdown in the year 2025, you know, and it's amazing how things line up like that. So you have another 25. They said he won his first heavyweight championship in 2004. Well, I guess they're just saying including the WWE championship in 2004. That's like 24, right? And he dies the 11th month, 13th day. 11 plus 13 is 24. They're saying heart failure. Look at how close that is in the language to Eddie Guerrero, his name. Same cipher even, 73 and 74. So you see how these things line up right there. Heart equals 83. And look at his birthday before his death. His birthday left 83 days in the year. And he died at age 38, which is 83 reversed. His full name equals 138. And that championship we were speaking of in the WWE, look at that right there. It was 18 weeks, 3 days after his birthday. 183. You see that? Defeating Brock Lesnar to win his first major title, WWE, at the No Way Out pay-per-view event. There's probably more symbolism with the name of the event as well. As you know, we saw in the Owen Hart breakdown, over the edge, and he fell kind of like off an edge, over an edge. His full name here, I don't, Eduardo Gory Guerrero Llanes or Lanes, Llanes. I'm not 100% sure how to pronounce it, but I know how to enter it in the Gematrinator calculator. So you see 183, 138, dead at 38, heart 83, birthday before the death leaves 83 days. Remember, murder, death, killing, RIP all equate to 38. Murder and morgue has the 83, right? So look at this character. And once again, I believe these characters, they're a distraction from us and our real lives. And I think that we're just characters on the stage as well. Low tier, like pawn characters in the world. I think, things are meticulously placed in our paths, whether we have influence in that happening or not. I think we kind of like possibly create our own reality with things we search online, people around us connected to us. I think there's something shady going on at the hospitals, right? You go to the doctor, hey, I need to be checked out for this. Oh, does your family have any history of blah, 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 blah. I think things can be altered to keep you on whatever path you're headed, or they want you connected with the people around you and the people close to you. So again, I think there's two factors going into it. I think we speak things into existence. We can type things into existence with the algorithm. Things can be brought, let me give you an example. If I'm thinking about living van life, thinking about going off the grid, I'm thinking it. I may type a couple of things about it. I may look at it on Facebook Reels or YouTube. All of a sudden, these things start popping up that would kind of help lead me in that direction. Do you understand? So that's what I'm talking about these characters. And I don't think whoever is controlling the game here, I don't think they mind that we're distracted with the celebrities as long as we're not thinking about our own lives and how maybe we're characters as well. So hopefully I didn't rant too long there. That's just my opinion, and that could be another. That's based off of all my experience with decoding, but that could be a whole nother video in itself. Okay, so he wins that championship February 15th, 2004, and then almost 2 years later he dies. He dies in 2005 in November, right? Is my math right there? Wins the championship in 2004, dies in 2005, late 2005. So even Guerrero, look at how he syncs up with wrestling here. 46 with Guerrero, wrestling equals 46. That championship in WWE that they say is a big highlight of his career here, it was on the 46th day of the year. Remember, sacrifice also equals 46 in the language. This is base ciphers with the language and the alphabet, okay, like a code. And they're facts. So this isn't just my opinion. I'm giving you facts here. And you can be amazed on how the numbers line up. Even Guerrero in the reverse cipher, 109, and that's his birthday. 109, the 10th month and the 9th day, 109. You could see the reverse cipher breakdown, the alphabet in reverse. 26 letters, R is 20, U is 6, E is 22. You get the double R's for 9. Again, E is 22. You get R again, and then O in reverse would be the 12th letter. Check that out right there. He's even born in 67. That's the 19th prime number, and his birthday is 10/9, which is like 19. Guerrero equals 53, just like wrestling. And he dies 35 days after his birthday, which is 53 reversed. Also wrestling, 127. Eddie Guerrero, 217. So you get the same numbers, just the 1 and the 2 are flipped around. Latino Heat was the nickname here as well. Okay. So we've heard, if you were a wrestling fan like I was growing up, maybe you fell off a little bit. I don't watch wrestling anymore. I'll watch some YouTube reels and stuff. Sometimes stuff pops up. You know, I like to hear the wrestlers talk about storylines and some of the drama within the business, but I don't really like follow wrestling anymore. But if you're from my era, you may remember Chavo Guerrero Jr., Eddie's brother. I believe he was his younger brother. Oh yeah, as we see the birthdays, duh. But Eddie Guerrero, check this out. His brother was Chavo Guerrero Jr. was born 11 days after Eddie Guerrero's birthday. What are the odds of that? But even more so, then Eddie Guerrero goes on to die in the 11th month, which is November. Even Gory Guerrero, the father, look at his birthday, the 11th day of January, the first month. So 111, 11 days after Eddie's birthday, Chavo Guerrero Jr., and then Eddie dies in the 11th month. And you know who else is connected to Eddie Guerrero? Rey Mysterio Jr. Look, he's born on the 11th of December. You see that right there? And his birthday not too far after Eddie Guerrero's death. Right? Eddie Guerrero dies 2005, November 13th. Okay? So not, you know, Rey Mysterio Jr. celebrates a birthday not far after that. Obviously not his actual birthday, but his birthday, right? Look at that right there. I thought he went by Junior at one point. Maybe they took that off of his name. I don't know. But you see that? You get the 11 again. And how are Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero connected? Let's just get a more professional viewpoint here. Incredibly close, functioning as best friends and brothers, not just wrestling partners or rivals, with Eddie acting as a member and father figure. You see that? Isn't that amazing? Right? And then they're all connected by this 11 as well. Even Conan, you know, as we would watch wrestling, right? We know these characters are connected. They got the Mexican connection thing going on, right? Remember, you had the luchadors that hit big in WCW. You know, or Eddie started to build his popularity and then going on to the WWE after that. Remember, Conan, K is even the 11th letter of the alphabet. Yes, professional wrestlers Conan and Eddie Guerrero were very close friends and colleagues, significantly connected throughout their careers. Eddie dies 1 month and 24 days before Conan's birthday, 124, and heart failure equals 124. Dies due to congestive heart failure. You see that? And look at how heart failure equals Conan's birthday. In the reduction cipher, 61, Conan's birthday, the 6th day of the first month, right? Odele. K-Dog, right? Look at that, man. You know, you have, again, ordinal is forward with the alphabet, reverse is in reverse, and you get reduction forwards, and then you have the reverse reduction cipher. That's 4 base ciphers. Look how this lands right here. This is amazing because we're speaking of Conan the wrestler, and look, it makes you think of Conan O'Brien, who's got the show, the comedy guy, right? Look at Conan O'Brien. He's got the same birthday as Gory Guerrero, Eddie's father. April 18th. This is how you really know it's a fake world, man, because I'm doing the research, looking up Conan. Conan, I spell his name, you know, and Conan O'Brien, I'm like, oh, let me just look at him real quick. Bam, same birthday as Gory Guerrero. Obviously, the wrestler Conan has the K. Come on, right? Okay, so I just wanted to bring that little breakdown. This isn't like this big. Does he have Eddie tattooed on his like upper chest right there? Probably, I think that's going to be related to another Eddie. It's spelt differently, but that's kind of interesting, huh? Probably not an uncommon name amongst the Latino community, but okay. So there's, you know, you could go further and you could do a whole deep dive breakdown if you wanted to. That's not really what I'm here to do. I'm trying to cover the basics and show you. There's only so much trending news you can do. You got to mix in different types of breakdowns, and you know, this one brings me back to the past. Some of us would say, you know, brings us back to better times. But again, back then we thought the world we live in is actually real. We kind of knew wrestling was scripted. They're still athletes, but they're putting on a show. And think about pro wrestling. That's how the world is. Characters, you know, being rebranded, coming back as different names, and you don't even recognize that they were once characters in the past. You know, and they wear masks. That's a whole nother breakdown. So again, Latino Heat, Eddie Guerrero, and again, shout out to. Let's go back to the comment. RRW Inc. So you may have inspired a couple of more videos as well, um, amongst these wrestlers, just with this comment here. So I'll link this video to you so you can check it out, right? And again, just some extra stuff here. And these are all facts that I show you. All right, these are all facts. Maybe my opinion, some of the stuff on the world, how the world is ran. Um, we may never know some of those answers, right? Even Eddie equals 108, which is very close to 109, with his birthday being 10/9, the 10th month and the ninth day. So you can see there's probably a lot more in there. Even wrestling has 116 to connect with heart failure, 61, and the Conan birthday. This what was it? The 6th day of the first month, again, something like that. Yeah, the 6th day of the first month. Okay, so I hope I hope that this could make things a little bit more clear about the world we live in with these characters, and we need to really look at our lives and control as much as we can. Stay positive out there. So this is the Eddie Guerrero, a look at his death and to look at some other connections. If I missed anything, let me know. If there's anything else you want me to look at, let me know. And there's always something that could be missed. Okay, so that'll be it for now. I'll see ya in the next one. Peace.